Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. Korea's local elections have ended with the ruling Democratic Party securing most of the regions. But the results suggest mixed emotions for both rival parties, as the main opposition Conservative Party held on to one of the key battlegrounds after a closely contested race in Seoul. Korea's stock market opened lower this morning, prompting a sell-side sidecar halting program sell orders for 5 minutes. The downturn appears to reflect weakness in U.S. stocks overnight, with semiconductor stocks leading the losses. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang is set to arrive in Seoul this afternoon for a series of meetings with some of Korea's most influential business figures, including the heads of SK, Hyundai Motor, LG, and Naver. Korea's ruling party has secured most of the regions at the recent local elections, but following a neck-and-neck race for Seoul and the main opposition party eventually taking over the capital, the results hint at mixed emotions for both parties. Our political correspondent An Sung-jin provides an overview of the latest results and what they might signify.
Korea's local elections concluded with the ruling Democratic Party winning 12 of 16 metropolitan mayoral and gubernatorial races. The main opposition People Power Party secured its conservative strongholds in Gyeongsangbuk-do and Gyeongsangnam-do provinces, Daegu, and most importantly, after a neck-and-neck race, it kept hold of the capital Seoul. The DP held on to the metropolitan areas of Gyeonggi-do province and Incheon, while also capturing Busan. The results hint at the DP further consolidating its grip on power by strengthening the Lee Jae-myung administration, as it allows the ruling party to control across the executive branch, National Assembly, and much of local government. But the victory comes with a setback. As the PPP holds on to one of the key political battlegrounds, Seoul, the ruling party remains cautious. Analysts say the latest local elections show that the voters intended to strike a balance through checks and balances by keeping the opposition party's strongholds intact. Looking at several parliamentary by-elections as well, the victory of independent Han Dong-un in Busan 북 A and the PPP's Yu Ui-dong in Pyeongtaek B suggest nuanced public support despite President Lee's strong approval ratings. Han's win in Busan 북 A particularly stands out. As the former PPP chairman who had been ousted by the main opposition, his victory may reshape the conservative bloc and provide a greater leverage in challenging the administration. Foreign media outlets link the ruling party's success to President Lee's continued popularity on the back of economic optimism and recent strong stock markets. Reuters said the results showcased the administration's nationwide support, while the New York Times described the election as a referendum on his presidency. Attention now turns to political aftermath. The DP prepares for a leadership contest likely to take place later this year, while the PPP faces growing pressure over its election losses and political friction within the party. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Korea's benchmark KOSPI this morning plunged more than 5% in early trading, dropping to the 8,100 level. The rapid decline prompted the Korea Exchange to activate a sell-side sidecar for the main bourse just 8 minutes into the trading, temporarily halting program trading for 5 minutes to mitigate volatility. The tech-heavy Kosdaq is also posting significant losses, tracking the broader market downturn. In the foreign exchange market, the Korean won hit 1,529 won against the US dollar, down 0.71 from the previous session's close. However, during overnight trading, the exchange rate surpassed the 1,541 mark, reaching its highest level since the global financial crisis. And 1 year into office, the Lee Jae-myung administration's economic policies have helped lead to strong gains in the local stock market, particularly in AI-related industries, and the administration has also needed to manage several crises. Our correspondent Kim Do-yeon tells us more.
President Lee's most visible economic achievement over the past 12 months can be seen in the KOSPI. His focus on the market was clear from day one, choosing the Korea Exchange as the very first place to visit.
대한민국 주식시장은 여러분들 아시는 것처럼 너무 불공정하고 불투명하고 다른 나라 사람들이 보면 저 시장을 어떻게 믿냐 이렇게 생각될 정도 아닙니까?
When the administration assumed office last June, the index was at the 2,700 level. It is now trading near the 8,500 mark, an increase of roughly 214% in just 1 year. Korea's stock market capitalization has jumped from 13th to 7th globally. The vertical climb is heavily driven by explosive global demand for AI memory chips, as performance by Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix surged. The government backed this momentum by allocating 10.1 trillion won, or roughly $7.4 billion to push the nation into the top 3 global AI powers. The administration also faced immediate external and internal crises. Following the economic contraction from the December 3rd martial law incident, the government passed a 31.8 trillion won, or roughly $23.3 billion supplementary budget last July, injecting liquidity through widespread consumption coupons. When the Middle East war erupted in February, blocking the Strait of Hormuz and sending international oil prices past $100 a barrel, the government executed a 26.2 trillion won, or $19.2 billion war supplementary budget. This fund targeted subsidies for the bottom 70% income bracket and established an oil price cap. This massive fiscal intervention came at the right time. The record-breaking export performance of domestic semiconductor giants led to a significant surge in corporate tax collections.
These policies were clearly deployed to boost domestic demand, and they have been effective in increasing consumption. Such fiscal maneuvering is necessary when there is budgetary room, and right now we are seeing strong tax revenues backing these measures.
Consequently, South Korea's consumer price index for April was held at 2.6%, significantly lower than the US and other major economies. On the trade front, the government navigated the Trump administration's strict tariff policies. After 5 months of negotiations, Seoul secured a mutual tariff reduction from 25% to 15% in exchange for a $350 billion investment promise in the U.S. And with all this, the Bank of Korea announced the nation's first quarter economic growth surged to 3.6% on year. 김도현, Arirang News.
Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang arrives in Korea this afternoon for a series of high-profile meetings with business leaders, researchers, and startup founders, as the country seeks to strengthen its position in the global AI race. The visit is expected to focus on potential partnerships in semiconductors, data centers, autonomous driving, gaming, and robotics. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang is set to arrive in Korea on Friday afternoon for a 4-day visit, packed with meetings that could deepen cooperation in artificial intelligence, robotics, and next-generation computing. According to industry sources, Huang will land at Seoul's Gimpo International Airport at 1 p.m. During his stay, he is expected to meet top business leaders, gaming executives, AI and robotics startup founders, university researchers, and students. One of the most closely watched events is a dinner scheduled for Friday evening with some of Korea's most influential business figures, including SK Group Chairman Choi Tae-won, Hyundai Motor Group Executive Chair Chung Hee-sun, LG Group Chairman Koo Kwang-mo, and Naver Chairman Lee Hae-jin. The gathering is widely expected to take place at a popular grilled pork belly restaurant in one of Seoul's bustling nightlife districts, such as Hongdae or Ulchiro, in what local media are calling a samso meeting, referring to the combination of samgyeopsal and soju. Earlier reports suggested the dinner could be held in Seongsu-dong, but sources now say Hongdae is emerging as the most likely location due to security considerations and logistical factors. Industry observers expect discussions during the dinner meeting to cover a broad range of strategic sectors, including high-bandwidth memory, AI data centers, autonomous driving technology, robotics, and so-called physical AI, which combines artificial intelligence with real-world machines and robots. Huang is also expected to meet Kim Taek-jin, founder and chief executive of gaming company NC Corporation, on Sunday, where talks are likely to focus on gaming technologies and AI collaboration. On Monday, the Nvidia chief is expected to hold a closed-door session with the heads of Korean AI startups as well as with robotics startups leaders, highlighting Nvidia's growing interest in the sector. Huang is also reportedly planning visits to research facilities at Seoul National University, including its AI Institute and Robotics Research Center. Sources say he has expressed a particular interest in meeting students directly during the trip. In addition, Huang is expected to meet executives from video game holding company Krafton, including Executive Director Chang Byung-gyu. Discussions are expected to include gaming partnerships involving Nvidia's RTX Spark platform and broader cooperation in physical AI. Krafton recently expanded into robotics through the launch of its new subsidiary, Ludo Robotics. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
So Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang is set to arrive in Seoul this afternoon and hold a series of meetings with leaders of some of South Korea's largest companies. For more on this, we're joined today by Professor Kwak Juni, Assistant Professor of Economics at Seoul University. Professor Kwak, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So a so-called Jensen Huang rally swept the Korean stock market this week, with shares spiking for companies mentioned by Huang or slated to meet with the Nvidia CEO. What should we be watching for during his visit to Seoul?
Right. So Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang's visit to South Korea is far more than a routine diplomatic tech tour, I think. I think it is a highly calculated scouting mission. While the headlines will inevitably focus on the sheer star power of the visit, the real story is entirely business focused. If you are watching this space, keep your eyes on concrete partnership expansions, particularly in robotics and next-generation cloud infrastructure. Huang's itinerary is a masterclass in ecosystem building. He's taking high-level meetings with the leaders of Korea's major conglomerates, SK, LG, Naver, and Hyundai. Each of these giants hold a specific puzzle piece Nvidia needs. SK provides memory, LG supplies advanced displays and automotive components. Naver dominates local software and cloud in Korea. Hyundai is pioneering autonomous mobility. But what is genuinely moving the needle for investors is the significant time Huang is dedicating to Korea's startup ecosystem. He is not just staying in boardrooms, he is holding a dedicated closed-door session with local AI and robotics startups at the Shilla Hotel and visiting Seoul National University's AI and robotics institutes. In the current market, an official nod or partnership from Nvidia acts as a kingmaker. It instantly validates a startup technology on the global stage, essentially acting as a stamp of approval that says this company is building the future. As a result, we saw a Jensen Huang rally before where investors are aggressively driving up the shares of any domestic company tied to Nvidia's hardware or software platforms.
Right, and Korea is home to some of the world's leading memory chip makers, right? What role do Korean companies like Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix play in Nvidia's AI ecosystem, and how critical are they to the global AI supply chain?
When you talk about the AI boom, Nvidia often takes all the credit. However, the core truth is this: South Korean chip makers are the irreplaceable backbone of Nvidia's hardware dominance. Nvidia designs the world's most advanced AI processors. Their GPUs are the undisputed gold standard. However, those processors are effectively useless without HBM, that's high bandwidth memory, to fit a massive amount of data at lightning speed. Right now, SK Hynix and Samsung Electronics essentially hold a duopoly on the world's high-end HBM supply. They are the only companies capable of manufacturing these memory skyscrapers at the scale and quality Nvidia requires. If you think of Nvidia's GPU as a state-of-the-art, high-performance sports car engine, Korean HBM is the high-octane racing fuel that actually allows it to run. You can have the best engine in the world, but without the right fuel, it is not going anywhere. Without Nvidia's designs, there is no AI boom, but without Korean memory chips, the global AI supply chain would instantly grind to a halt.
I see. And Huang had earlier cited robotics as a promising area for future investment in Korea ahead of his visit to Seoul. And this comes amid intense global competition in AI, right? What opportunities does this present for Korea's semiconductor and tech industries?
So we are currently witnessing a massive industry-defining shift. For the past 2 years, the focus has been entirely on software AI, think chatbots, image generators, and tools like ChatGPT. Now the frontier is moving toward physical AI, artificial intelligence that has a body and can interact with the real three-dimensional walls through robotics and autonomous systems. South Korea is exceptionally well positioned to lead this transition, I think. The country already boasts the highest robot density in the world and has a deep institutional expertise in advanced manufacturing, smart factories, and hardware integration, as we see from Hyundai factory. The newly announced alliance between Naver and Nvidia is one example of this pivot as well. They are collaborating to build a global AI factory. This partnership is not just to a standard hardware for software trade. Naver Cloud is deeply integrating Nvidia's platforms to build complex wall simulating systems like the Seoul world model. This ambitious project acts as a digital twin of the city, bridging accurate digital maps with physical AI. It allows robust autonomous vehicles and drones to navigate and learn in a perfectly simulated physical environment before ever hitting the streets. For Korea's tech industry, this is a monumental opportunity. It allows them to move beyond their traditional role of just supplying the hardware, positioning them to become the core developers of the world's next generation robotics software and spatial computing infrastructure.
Right, and Professor Kwok, before I let you go, how does Jensen Huang's visit today reflect Korea's strategic importance in the global technology landscape?
Right, so all of this highlights a fundamental shift in how South Korea operates on the global stage. Korea is actively proving that it's not just a high-end subcontractor for Silicon Valley's big tech, but a vital independent player in the global AI race. Beyond feeding HBM to Nvidia, Korea has been quietly and aggressively developing its own domestic ecosystem of KAI semiconductors. These are neural processing units designed specifically to run AI models highly efficiently. We are now seeing the lucrative fruits of this labor. Domestic AI chip startups like Rebellions or Furiosa AI have definitely moved past the prototype and testing phases. Recently, these companies secured over $30 million in export contracts across regions like the UK and Taiwan. They are not trying to beat Nvidia at training massive foundation models. Instead, they are dominating niche applications ranging from smart mobility and automotive AI to high-speed disaster management systems. And I think, furthermore, these companies represent a neutral, highly advanced alternative in a globally fragile supply chain.
Right, a lot to look forward to throughout his visit. All right, Professor Kwok, thank you so much for your time and insight today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Theme parks have traditionally been destinations for children, but due to demographic challenges in Korea, operators are increasingly targeting a different audience, young adults. Our culture correspondent Park Gun-woo tells us how.
Seeing young kids and students at theme parks is nothing unusual. But in Korea, shrinking demographics are creating new challenges, a decreasing number of visitors. Yet one major park, Lotte World, has bucked the trend, with visitor numbers rising on year by about 2% in 2024, according to Themed Entertainment Association's latest report. One strategy has been tapping into nostalgia through popular franchises, most recently MapleStory, a beloved online game that many young Korean adults grew up playing.
It's been a while since I last visited an amusement park. But collaborations like this definitely make people my age visit again, especially when they feature brands we're familiar with.
This place feels as if you've stepped right into the world of MapleStory itself. Its immersive attractions, photo zones, snacks, and even this little hat on me are all drawing in even adults, eager to relive the childhood magic.
Through collaborations with a wide range of external characters and stories, we're creating seasonal content and new attractions to strengthen competitiveness and attract more visitors with diverse age groups and nationalities.
Themed merchandise and food are also helping draw in more visitors. Everland, Korea's other top-tier theme park, has also been using characters to draw strong interest through beloved animal stars like Fubao, the first Korean-born giant panda, and collaborations with domestic football clubs. But experts say the bigger opportunity may lie beyond Korea's borders.
I mean, everything from Squid Games to BTS to the Demon Hunters. Like, it's an amazing IP, like Korea's IP, one of Korea's IP. You know, how you take those stories and scale them outside of Korea. I said, how can you leverage that? Not only just in country, but on a more global scale, I think is a great opportunity right now.
Oviedo also says globally recognized characters and stories could help attract more international visitors, a strategy now being embraced by companies like Shinsegae through partnerships with major entertainment brands like Paramount. As Korea's theme parks search for new growth engines, from stories both local and international, their biggest attraction may no longer be the rides themselves, but the stories and fan bases that bring visitors through the gates. Park Geonu, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Chu Ji-hyun, and this is the world now. Hezbollah has rejected the ceasefire deal agreed one day earlier by Israel and Lebanon. Israel also said it would not pull back its forces, dealing a blow to U.S. efforts to halt the fighting and forge a broader peace deal with Iran. Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem said, quote, resistance would continue, noting the group had not been party to the Washington negotiations. Israel's defense minister said operations in Lebanon would not halt and troops would not pull back. Iran has made a Lebanon ceasefire a condition for any broader deal with the United States. Iran's supreme leader said Thursday that Iran's enemies had already been defeated on the battlefield. U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday called lawmakers, quote, unpatriotic after the U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution the day aimed at limiting U.S. military action in Iran. 4 Republicans broke with their party to pass the measure 215 to 208. The White House dismissed the resolution as an unconstitutional attempt to restrict presidential power. Trump called the 4 Republicans, quote, grandstanders who should be ashamed of themselves. For the measure to carry legal force, it would need to clear the Republican-controlled Senate as well. It was the 4th attempt by lawmakers to rein in his war powers and the first to succeed. In the U.S., a flesh-eating parasitic fly that can devastate livestock populations has been confirmed in a Texas calf for the first time since 1966. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced the find on Wednesday, with the parasite now threatening a cattle industry already at its lowest level in 75 years. The case was found in La Pryor, Texas, roughly 30 miles from the Mexican border. The United States Department of Agriculture has halted animal movement within 20 kilometers of the site and deployed a response team with treatment stockpiles. A Nepali Sherpa guide has been found after surviving for nearly a week on Mount Everest without food, water, or supplemental oxygen. 52-year-old Dawa Sherpa was believed to be dead after he went missing on May 29th while descending with a Polish climber after a failed summit attempt. A post-season cleanup crew found him near the Khumbu icefall after fixed ladders had already been removed for the year. He was rushed to hospital for frostbite treatment. His daughter said he recognized her and was speaking.
Many of us had cooler air to start off the day. The recent heat wave has eased and a pocket of cooler air remains over the Korean peninsula, helping temperatures stay closer to norms for early June through the Memorial Day weekend. A few light showers are still possible this morning in parts of Gangwon-do province, but sunshine will take over nationwide this afternoon. UV levels will become very high across much of the country, so don't forget sunscreen and hats. And this afternoon's Seoul will be getting up to 27, Daegu at 28 degrees. Next week looks mostly sunny with comfortable early summer weather.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching.